welcome everybody, and thank you for joining this evening. We have got two really special guests joining us tonight, which I'm delighted to welcome, and I'm just going to get the PowerPoint up and we can get cracking. So we've got our oh, hang on, I haven't shared my screen, have I? Sorry, nobody can see anything. It's a smooth operation here. Okay, start again. There we go. Can everybody see my screen now?
Oh,
oh, look.
So we've been running our trainings, I think this is the 5th week now. We started before Christmas and then had a little pause over the Christmas festivities, and we commenced last week. And it's really a pleasure and an honour to welcome my dear friend Susie and lovely Kathy, who are sisters, and my beautiful doTERRA uplines and support and mentors. And I'm just absolutely stoked to have you guys here and to welcome you to introduce yourselves to my lovely growing team.
oh.
First.
Well, thank you for having us, Kat. It's lovely. It's lovely to be here.
So I don't know if you want...
don't want to talk over you.
Suze, do you want to have a little chat through, just introduce yourself and say how we met and
absolutely.
the oils and things?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kat and I are very good friends. Our husbands actually went to university together. So we've known each other for, how many years is that? Quite a few years. So I started my doTERRA journey about 4 years ago now, actually. I got introduced to the oils by a really good friend of mine, another friend of mine. And I had 1-year-old twins at the time. So I was sort of not necessarily on the lookout, but certainly my ears were massively, woken up when I heard of a natural sort of way of helping to support my then baby twins. It was through the winter months that I particularly needed something for them just to boost their little immune systems. They were constantly getting poorly and I was just a little bit fed up. So when my friend invited me to go along to a class, I was like straight there, eyes wide, ears open and willing to learn and listen. And I loved it. I was in straight away, and I bought a diffuser, and I bought On Guard, and I bought Breathe. They were my first little purchases, and every day I've used not just those oils, but an oil in my life every day since, pretty much. So for the first 2.5 years, I was a strong customer, and I loved the oils. So I naturally just started telling my friends about them, and because they worked for me, they worked for my children, my husband loved them. So we just naturally started sharing the love, really. So that's when I introduced them to Kat, just very, very casually. You probably all know Kat's background, but she used to suffer quite badly with anxiety and sore throats, really, wasn't it? Headaches and sore throats. And it was something that was just really knocking her, and her immune system was quite weak at the time. So we were away for a weekend, actually, weren't we? We holiday a lot quite together, Kat and I, and our families. And we were away, and I said, "Oh, Kat, try some On Guard. This is brilliant stuff. It will really help you. It really helps with your throat. It will boost your immune system. Give it a go." So she did. And the rest is history, really, isn't it? Kat then, similar to me, fell in love with the oil straight away, and again was a really, proud and honorable customer and loved the oils. So it wasn't until a couple of years later that we both decided to go a bit further and say, yeah, we want to do this. We love it. We became really passionate about it, really cared deeply about sharing it again with other like-minded mums and women, and just be on this journey, and the rest is history, really. So that's Kat and I. The relationship then, Kathy and I, obviously we're sisters, but I'll pass you over to Kathy to introduce herself and how she started her little doTERRA journey as well.
Thanks, Suze.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Is it good? Yeah, thanks, Suze. It's always lovely to hear. So I kind of fit in along that journey somewhere, not very far away from the beginning. For Susie, she basically phoned me immediately after the class that she went to, her first ever class, and said, "Oh my God, you need to go," basically. And my backstory is I have two children, and my youngest is and was suffering from really bad asthma. And Susie just said, "You need to get these oils for him." And so I basically went trucking up to London from the Isle of Wight, really with a hopeful heart and not much more. And I just could not believe what I was hearing. Came back with a Home Essentials kit and a really like a head full of excitement and intention, and I just knew instantly that I wanted to do this as a business. I was at a stage in my kind of mum life, if you like, where my kids were a bit older by then, and my little boy was a year away from starting school, so I was really aware of wanting to do something for myself, and I didn't want to go back to the work I had previously. And so yeah, I just have spent the last 4 years diving in deeper and deeper and deeper into this really beautiful company, sharing the oils. I think with over 2,000 people now in my downline, and I've got a really strong team. And I would just like to add something that listening to both of these lovely ladies, lovely friends, sisters, families, basically it's yeah, I've been doing this the longest out of the three of us, and you guys included, you guys watching. It doesn't mean I'm any better at this. It just means I've had more experience with it and I've been doing it for longer. You guys can learn exactly the same, and that is for me something really powerful about this business. It's really not that Susie and I are better at this and we're higher ranked. Yeah, we're higher ranked because we've been doing it for longer, but for me, I feel that that's a real testament to the business. You can just see it ahead of you, and you can see if you put in the really hard work, of course, and you share the oils with just a real passion and excitement, people just love them. The oils really, really, really work, as we all know. That's why we're here, showing up. And it's when you put them in the right place with the right people at the right time, they say yes as well, and it's a really lovely thing. And so yeah, for me, I'm here 4 years later, and I've got a really big team now. They don't, they all fall into my downline. I've grown 4 really good individual teams, and we get on and have a really good, strong relationship. And for me, it's a massive part of what we've achieved. I say always talk about my team as a we, it's never me. And we just keep motoring forwards, and with an absolute excitement and buzz around us at the moment. And I'm really proud of it. I can't wait to develop more this year, and I feel really excited to be here. I'll stop now. Is that enough?
That's amazing. Thanks, Kathy. And it's been incredible to watch you. I think I first enrolled from one of your online classes, and you'd probably been doing doTERRA for about a year. So it's been amazing to watch you from kind of the sidelines, and then to now be part of your team for the last year, just loving it.
It's been a lovely journey.
And it's so great that you're so welcoming and embracing, and everybody in the team is so welcoming and embracing to all of the new people that are coming on board, which is mega exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
So, well, thanks, girls. If you had to name one word of advice or one word to kind of go through your doTERRA journey with, what would they be? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, it's good.
Well, I think mine would be empowerment. Like, for me, absolutely me to, I'm empowered as a mom to look after my children in a more natural way. Lifestyle, I'm empowered as an individual, like lifestyle, hugely. Like I talk about that a lot in my classes. It's just my background. So I was a dancer. So yeah, lifestyle, health, well-being, looking after me as an individual, as well as mummy, as well as my kids, as well as my family. So empowerment for me. But then if I can give that to somebody else as well, I just think there's nothing better than that. I'm really proud of that, to, you know, to share that. So I'm empowered, and that's my word.
It's a good one.
Awesome. It's a great word. You nicked mine. No, I'm joking. I think for me, in terms of for the business, my key word is commitment, because it's not an easy thing. It's not an overnight success story. It's a commitment to the oils, commitment to doTERRA as a company, but more than that, it's more of a movement of I'm sure you've probably heard this said already, that their mission as a company globally is one drop at a time, one community, one country, one town, whatever it is. It's that commitment. They share a commitment to us, we share a commitment to our people that we meet. We commit to doTERRA as well, and yeah, so commitment is my word.
Both amazing words, and ring very true in my ears, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. So tonight I'm going to be talking through some tips on hosting your own class, which you're very welcome to stay and listen to, but equally I'm sure you've got plenty of other things to be doing with your evening, so I'll leave it up to you.
Oh, bless you. I'm going to jump off then if you don't need us anymore. I've got so much. I've got a tax return sitting here.
Thank you so much, Kath. And I'm just going to go through and make sure I've got links to different Facebook groups, a couple of which belong to you. So I'm just going to make sure everybody's in where they need to be tonight as well.
Well, thanks very much for having us. And girls, enjoy your training. And I really look forward to meeting you soon. And Kath,
thanks, Kath.
See you soon. Suze.
I'll hop off and leave you to it as well, Kat. But I just want to add, like, Kat, she's amazing at this. You guys are privileged to have Kat right there holding your hand. It makes me tear up. I'm so proud of her. She is an absolute legend, is Kat Warner. So you guys, you're very, very lucky. You've got a team leader there who is so passionate, who is so committed, who is so driven, so determined, so giving of her time to everybody else. Like even this tonight, what she's created, she's so creative. She ticks every box, and I'm incredibly proud of her and all that she's achieved. And she's a little shining light. And if she can inspire you the way she inspires me, then you are in very, very lucky hands. But I'm here as well. Like, this is, I think one of Kathy's very coy about it, but one of her biggest attributes is her forming of relationships, like her ability to look after everybody and to be that mother hen, and that it's such a lovely team to be part of. Like that, we're all mates, and we're all here to guide each other and to have fun along the way. Like Kat and I in that photo, like we have fun. Like there's nothing more exciting than doing a job that you really enjoy with people that you care about. So it's all of us. We're all in this. So I'm always here to support Kat, to support you guys. If there's anything that I can ever do, you now know who we are. Please reach out. But I'll love and leave you in the lovely hands of Kat, and I can't wait to meet you all. Yay!
Thanks, Suze.
Yeah. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, darling. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Crikey. Where to go from there? So hopefully you will get to meet Kathy and Susie in real life if you haven't already. They're both absolute dreamboats, as you can see from that. So some upcoming dates where you might actually get to meet Kathy and Susie as well. So United Kingdom. So this is the purple bit at the top is the spring tour. So there's 4 dates there. And I know a couple of people from this group have booked on to Bristol on the 31st of March for the launch camp. So there's 2 different events here. The top part is the spring tour, which is run by doTERRA Corporate, and the launch camps at the bottom are run by, Nathan and Bex, who are our presidential diamond leaders in the UK. So we're super lucky to have these, because these didn't exist last year when I was starting, and I wish they did, because they're going to be amazing and really helpful for you guys. So Bristol's the 31st of March, so you can go to the launch camp in the afternoon and then go to the doTERRA evening, the corporate evening, spring tour evening in the evening, which will be amazing. And then there's also the Southampton one on the 4th of April, which I think is on a Saturday, so I'll probably head to that. And there's London on the 14th of March, is going to be based around medical profession speakers, so that's going to be really interesting. And I know Kathy did a live today about that on the Our Amazing Team Facebook page. If you're not on that already, then drop me a message and I can get you added. So whilst we're on that, here's a bit of a recap really of some different groups that you may want to join or ask me to get you added to. So there's the Our Amazing Team page, which is Kathy's lovely team page for all of her team, which you guys are all part of. And then there is the Happy Healthy doTERRA community. So that is Kathy's customer closed group. So if you're not on that, then that's a good one to get added to. And also you can add your customers to that as and when they come on board. So that's quite helpful. There's the Blooming and Glowing tribe. So this is Emily and Tim Mascarenhas, who are doTERRA Blue Diamonds, and they're a lovely couple. You'll definitely meet them as well at some events. So the tribe is their team, so all of their doTERRA builders and leaders. And then there is Bloom Your doTERRA Business, which is the doTERRA corporate page. So if you haven't joined that already, I'd recommend you join that, because there's units and information on there that you can go through. Just drop me a message if you need any help with any of that. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how to organise a successful class. So first things first, you need to get yourself organised, and these are just what we're going to run through tonight. So getting organised, sampling and talking about the oils, venues, collaborations and seasonality, contacting people before the class itself, chocolate and treats, and then following up. So getting organised. So it probably is making you fearful, the thought of setting a date for a class. And I don't want you to feel like that, but it's all about going through and pushing through that fear barrier. So I want you to check your diary and think when you feel that you might feel ready to do a class. So there's no pressure. It doesn't have to be like next month, next week. It can be in a few months' time. But it is really, really good to sort of set a goal to work towards, because it just puts some definition down. If you are not in the UK or you're not geographically near to me, I will always come and support you if I possibly can physically. But if I can't physically get there, then maybe we need to look at doing some online classes, which can be just as successful. So yeah, let's get our diaries together and get some dates set. So first of all, setting the date, feel the fear and do it out of the way, because we know we have to push through that fear barrier to get out of our comfort zones and to expand ourselves. And I'm absolutely here to support you as much as you need, as is Susie, and as is Kathy. So once you set your date, you need to lock down a venue. Where are you going to hold your class? Is it going to be in your own home? Are you going to look for a public venue? What's the most appropriate and place for you to do that? And then I just wanted to show you a little bit about Canva. So Canva is like a free graphics website, which you can use to create a nice invite for your class, basically. So also really, really handy for creating any kind of social media things, business cards, anything like that, really. It's free. So if you go to canva.com, hopefully you can all still see my screen. Can somebody just press a little comment or something, just saying you can, or unmute yourself quickly?
Yes, I can, Kat.
Thanks, Debbie. So you go to Canva, just close that. And then basically you have loads of different templates here. So there's templates for social media, there's templates for posters, for whatever you want really, postcards. And in here somewhere there's invitations. So you click on invitations. Now some of the graphics and the photos that are included on these templates you might have to pay for. So I tend to kind of use them as a bit of a base and then import my own photos. So I'm just going to show you kind of quickly how it works. So I'm choosing this as a graphic. So you literally click on the box, highlight it, and then you can type in your own thing. You know, blah, blah, blah. Put your date in, your time, your contact details, who to RSVP2. And then when you've completed that, then you can just go to print cards. You say download, and you just click download, and it will download it for you. So there it is. So it's super easy. It's completely free if you're not using any of their kind of paid for graphics. I think there is a way that you can pay for them. And then you can also upload your own photos to put in there. So I've got quite a few in already. And to do that, you literally just go to your desktop or image library on your computer and drag and drop it in. So there you can see it's the Lifelong Vitality Kit. And then if you wanted to use an image, then you would just drag and drop it over, and then you can resize it. And you can move the text, you can change the color up here, you can move it backwards and forwards. So I think that's as forward as it's going. Anyway, so you can just go on and have a play around. Super, super handy. And there's a couple of websites which will just point you in the direction of now as well for imagery. So there is a website called Unsplash, which is all royalty-free imagery. So you can put in green leaf, for example. And, you know, it just brings up some nice natural images that you maybe want to use. I think there's even, probably if we put essential oils in here, there's some essential oil imagery. It's not specific to doTERRA, but you know, some of these, that's a nice one, the lavender. It's really helpful. And they're completely free. So again, you just click on it, I right click, save image as, blah, blah, blah. And then you can import that into Canva. So there's also a website which has been set up by a doTERRA leader in America called Keely Martinez. Some of you might follow her on social media. She's Essentially Obsessed, her handle. And she set this up, One Drop Designs, which I pay about $30 a month to be a member of. But it's pretty amazing. It's where I get loads of my material from for social media. It's where I get a lot of my imagery for presentations and also for social media. So there's just tons and tons of stuff in here. And there's also kind of like ebooks and usage guides for your top 10 oils that you can give out to customers. So, I mean, you guys maybe don't want to invest in that to start with, but it's a really great resource. And I think you can invest for a month and download what you want and then switch it off. So yeah, just a couple of helpful tips there for creating your invite. So let's just go back to this. So once you have got your date in the diary, you can go and create yourself a super snazzy invite now. And the next thing to do is to get sampling and talking about the oils with your friends and contacts. So you've got your 50 list that I set that as homework quite a while ago. So hopefully you've managed to write that. And those are probably going to be quite a lot of friends. They might be sort of colleagues. They might be family. Who knows? But you kind of need to think about, are they going to be approachable for me to contact them about the oils? Everybody has an ailment, really, whether it's a headache, some sleeping issues, anxiety, digestive problems. It's not really many people that I contact that don't want to hear about how they can sort of manage a condition naturally. I think I've never been refused to send somebody a sample. Nobody's ever refused to receive a sample, because it's a really nice thing to receive at the end of the day. So you need to get contacting your people on your 50 list. Don't do all 50 at once, because that's going to be a bit overwhelming, but maybe, I don't know, do one a day, and make sure you really kind of don't just go straight into the oils. Like, maybe just start chatting with them. Depends where you're having the conversation. It might be online, or it might be face to face, and you can just kind of incorporate that into conversation quite casually and quite naturally. So how many people have you contacted so far, and how many have you sent samples to? I would really encourage you to keep a record of them, whether that is, if you're a digital girl, you can do it on a spreadsheet. If you prefer a pen and paper, then just get yourself a new notebook and write down names and write down dates and what you've said, if you've contacted them, if you've sent them a sample, have you followed up with them, have they used the sample, and then have you invited them to your class? So once you've sent the sample and hopefully they've had a positive response from that, then you can invite them to your class using your very snazzy Canva invite. Okay, so then just think a little bit about venue. So to start off with, you probably want to hold some classes at home, because it's quite a comfortable environment for you to be presenting in. It makes it quite informal and relaxed. So even if you just kind of organise a coffee morning and incorporate the oils in that, maybe start yourselves off gently like that. It's entirely up to you. But then start to think, as you're going to want to branch out, just start to think of different venues that might be appropriate to contact about collaborations. Or maybe it's a yoga studio, vegan cafe, there's wellness festivals, there's lots of different things like that you can hopefully do some collaborations with. And then if you can host a class at one of their venues, then they're basically going to find the people to come to your class for you. So it takes a big part of the job off for you, and they're also going to be the kind of like-minded people who are into their natural well-being already. So that's quite helpful. And then can you collaborate with anybody? Maybe you've got a friend who I know Suze's got a friend that's a florist, so they were thinking about doing a nice event for Mothering Sunday of make a little posy and an essential oil rollerball. So, just things like that, because they're going to have a completely different contact list. The other thing that I haven't put on here is host classes. So do you have any friends that maybe they've got a different group of a different network of friends? Do you have any friends that you could approach and they might be happy to hold a class for you? I did one at my sister's house, for example, because she lives up in Shropshire, and so she just invited lots of mums from school, and it was a really lovely evening. Nice to meet a new group, and it kind of opens up a whole different circle. I've travelled quite a lot just to do host classes, and they're really nice. I did one in Wiltshire for another friend, and it's also a great excuse to kind of go and catch up with friends that live maybe a bit further afield. The other thing that you can consider is what season we're in. So, sometimes instead of doing the introduction to essential oils class, talking about the 10 core oils, then you can mix it up. You can do a workshop. So you can do a make and take workshop where people might make a rollerball, and you can offer them different options for rollerballs, like a stress rollerball, or a sleep rollerball, or an immune support rollerball. Or you could put on an event for targeting mums, so they come and they can make up rollerballs for their children. Really there's endless possibilities. It's just finding your little niche with it. I did a lovely evening where we made Christmas gifts before Christmas. I think I'm going to do something for Mothering Sunday as well. And it builds a bit of a community as well. So I've got a really lovely group of ladies that come now to my events that I do here. And it's always really just a great atmosphere. It's nice to catch up with them, and it keeps them interested in the oils and keeps them kind of engaged with it. And then also the great thing if you're making something, so for the Christmas gifts and the Mothering Sunday gifts, is that then they are giving the oil to somebody else who then hopefully will have a really positive experience. And then I've had quite a lot of feedback from the Christmas workshop that I did, people who have received the gifts and are really loving them, and now they want to come to classes. So it's a win-win. Okay, so before the class, a couple of days before the class, you want to try and physically phone people if you've got their phone number, just to kind of prompt their memory, make sure they can still make it. In the day and age that we live in, where everything's done so digitally, it's really nice to receive a phone call, and it makes people think that you really care about them. So it's a lovely touch if you can manage it. If you can't, then you can drop them a text or whatever, but it is really a nice personal touch to actually pick up the phone and call them. Say you're looking forward to seeing them, and then on the day of the class or the day before the class, then just text or send out a message to everybody that's coming to the class, giving them some directions or parking instructions, which you can kind of use as a bit of a guise. Really, it's just an extra reminder of the class and the time and everything else. Okay, so the class itself. Make sure, first of all, we're selling kind of wellness life, well, not selling, but we're inviting people into our world of a wellness lifestyle. So your space should feel kind of calm and clean and tidy and feel really welcoming. So it is going to involve a bit of, normally for me, I've got a class tomorrow night, and I know I need to spend a couple of hours tomorrow just having a good tidy up, clearing through the general muck that gets gathered throughout the week in our house. Get the diffusers going well before the class. So I normally have a couple of diffusers going. My favourite blends to put in, and this is entirely up to you what you put in, but I really like wild orange and geranium, and I do about 4 drops of wild orange, 2 drops of geranium in one diffuser, and then in another diffuser I do eucalyptus and air, or you can just do air. And then you want to prepare some nice healthy snacks to offer out. So I normally buy hummus from the supermarket, and then in a ceramic or a metal or a glass bowl, just tip the hummus in with a tiny bit of extra olive oil, and then some drops, about 6 drops of lemon oil, 4 to 6 drops of lemon oil. Give it a good stir, and then just make some nice kind of like crunchy crudité, so carrots and celery, that kind of thing. Maybe a few tortilla chips or something if you wanted to. Then I always offer people sparkling water with a drop of one of the citrus oils in, so normally lime or grapefruit. That way, as soon as they come in, you kind of already they're having an internal oil experience without really even thinking about it. So when you come on to talk about the oils and the different ways that you can use them, then you can reference these things that they've already been enjoying. Then I get everybody to sit down, make sure everyone's comfortable and they've got what they need. You want to invest in getting yourselves a pack of pencils, so you've got enough pencils to hand out for however many people are coming to your class. And then I prepare handouts, which I will send to you all individually as and when you come to do your classes. And then what I like to do is I do my introduction. So that's just me talking through my history, my background, how I got into the oils. And I try and make it really real and authentic, because I think people appreciate that, and that's what people are drawn to. And then when I've done my intro, I go round and I just ask if they don't mind sharing their name, and if they'd like to share something that they're looking to get out of the evening, then please do, but don't feel that they need to, because I don't want anybody to sort of feel like they have to share anything that's too private. But I find that works really well, because then as they're going round, so they might say, oh, my child's got a poor immune system, and then someone else say, oh, my husband's got asthma, or I have really bad trouble sleeping. as you're going round, you can kind of in your head be thinking, right, on guard for the immune support, air for the asthma, lavender for the sleep. And you know, with the 10 core oils that you're going to talk about, you're going to cover off pretty much most ailments, day-to-day ailments. But it just gives you a bit of a reference point to try and recall that. If I'm really organised, I take a whiteboard with me and I write people's names in the order of the circle that they're sat. And then I write their kind of ailments. And then I can I'm not very good at remembering names sometimes, so it gives me a reminder of who's who when I get home. I keep it written on my whiteboard, and then I can kind of visually think who was sat there, and it gives me a bit more of a recollection. Then I can contact them and say, if they didn't order on the night, then it gives you a little bit more information to contact them and offer them a sample if they didn't already receive a sample. Okay. Really, really key, and this is something I wasn't very good at doing in the beginning, is make sure you get people's contact details. So, I mean, not so relevant when it's your mates coming to your classes, first of all, but as you grow, you're going to be doing classes with people that you don't know and you don't know how to contact them. So I have a form that, again, I will email to you all, and you just want to hand that round at the beginning of the class. Don't do it at the end, just do it at the beginning, whilst you've got people's full attention, and just ask them to fill out their name, phone number, email, and then they just tick that they're happy to receive information from you. So that kind of covers off the GDPR aspect, I think. And then you can follow up with them. Okay, so this is my order that I do the class in, and this, you can kind of get more detailed notes on this if you go and look at my recorded webinar with Suze. I pretty much use the same format for every class. And I have got my trusty class notes, which I wrote this time last year, and I copied these from Suze. And so I will scan these in, and I will send them to anybody that would like them, but I'm not going to upload them to the team page because they're quite personal to me, but I'm happy to email them to anybody. So it's really just lovely and reassuring to have your book with your notes, write them out quite big so that you're not sort of struggling to read them in the class. And for me, when I was starting out, I just always knew it's fine, because the worst case scenario, if I lose my words or I lose track of where I am, I can just read off the page in front of me and nobody is going to mind that. Okay, so this is the order that I do my class in. So first of all, I talk about what are essential oils. Then that covers a little bit about the aromatic experience, and so then we do the wild orange and peppermint experience. I like to get the oils out quite quickly because it keeps people engaged, it makes them focus, because we know how powerful that whole wild orange and peppermint experience is. So they do that. And then I go on to talk about the doTERRA difference. So this is all about the CPTG testing, the fact they're sourced from their native environments, the co-impact sourcing methods that doTERRA work with, and just really sort of like stress the ethics of the company and how lovely that is to be involved with. Then if I've got access to a smart TV, or sometimes I take my laptop with me, I will play the frankincense sourcing cartoon video. I think you've probably both seen that at my classes. I'll put a link to that up on the team page. It's only 2 minutes long, but it's a really lovely journey of the co-impact sourcing and the frankincense harvesting. So I like to play that. Then I go into the 3 ways to use doTERRA, so aromatically, topically, and internally. And you cannot stress enough how specific the internal use is for doTERRA only. Make sure they're not going to go and buy essential oils from the health food shop and use them internally, or just use any oils that they've got knocking around internally. Just make sure you stress that massively. Health and safety. And then I go into Nature's Medicine Cabinet. So sort of introduce this in terms of how it's basically a replacement for your medicine cabinet that you've got at home. there's 10 oils, and within this kit you're going to find something for your immune support, your coughs and colds, your verrucas, your nits, your sleep support, aches and pains, digestive issues, tummy upsets, and yeah, go into the 10 core oils then and how we use them. I do try and keep the class, I mean, it's hard to try and keep it to a minimum time, and it does depend who's there, because some people like to ask more questions, but I do try to keep it swift, because I think people get overwhelmed with too much information. And then after that, after we've gone through the 10 core oils, I introduce how they can purchase doTERRA. So that's whether they want to purchase retail, which I always stress that none of my customers do, because it's not the best way of buying them, it's not the best value for them. So I really try and encourage them to buy wholesale accounts. If they just want 1 or 2 oils, purchase those through a wholesale account. But the best way of buying the oils and really getting natural health integrated into your life is by buying a kit. So I always go through the Family Essentials kit and the Home Essentials kit. And then, so in the handouts, I kind of have the enrolment, and then enrolment forms and all of the information on prices and things. And so I leave people then to kind of just chat amongst themselves and have a little think about that. And I go off to the kitchen and get some chocolates that I've made. So the chocolates, I know you guys have both tried the chocolates. So the chocolates, oh, sorry, that's a bit blurred. So these are for raw chocolates. The recipe I will put up on the team page, and this was given to me by one of my doTERRA cross lines, lovely lady called Kate. And so it's 100 grams of cacao butter, 100 grams of cacao powder, and those are both really rich in antioxidants. 3 to 4 tablespoons of maple syrup, depending on how sweet you like it, and then 5 to 6 drops of your chosen oil, and you basically melt it in a bain-marie and then whisk it together and then pour it into an ice cube tray and put it in the fridge to set. And they're super yummy, and they literally take 5 minutes to make, and everyone's always really impressed with those. If you don't want to make the raw chocolates, then you can just melt down 70% Lindt chocolate or 70% chocolate, dark chocolate, and then add in the oils, and they're also nice. So either or, really. Then once you've run your class, you just want to kind of, so when you get the chocolates, you go around and hand the chocolates around and just talk to people. Like, the best thing to do is to listen. Listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're asking. Never, ever, ever be pushy or pressurize people to buy there and then. Always make sure they've got enough information to take away with them, and that they know that they can come back to me with any questions. You know, some people, it's a bit of a snowball effect. I always find that once one person starts filling in an enrolment form, then everybody else does, pretty much. So you almost, I don't know, I don't think it's possible, but if you could plant a mole in every class to fill in an order for a Home Essentials kit, then that would definitely be on to a winner. But yeah, I just never ever pressurize people. I do think, though, it's quite important to not offer people necessarily the wholesale price for oils, just if they're buying 1 or 2 oils. I mean, you could do it at the start, but I think there's not really any incentive for them to get their own account then, if they're only interested in buying a couple of oils. And it's much better if people do get their accounts, because then they can reorder themselves and it's less kind of admin for you. But entirely up to you how you want to do that. But I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it kind of made a lot of sense that if you're saying, well, there's a retail price and then there's wholesale price, but I tell you what, I'll just order the oils for you at wholesale price anyway, you don't even have to pay the £24, then of course they're going to do that. Nobody's going to get their own kit, their own enrolment for £24 if you're offering them the equivalent price. So really, really press the value of the kits, and there is a massive saving to be had on purchasing both the family essentials kits and the home essentials kits. Can't remember the figures off the top of my head, but I think it's roughly 40 quid saving for the family essentials kit, and I want to say it's something over £100 for the home essentials kit versus buying all of the oils individually. I'll check those figures and I'll post them on the page. And it just gives them the most holistic way of starting. Like most of us have started with a kit, and gives you all of the oils that you kind of need to go to. And then most people go on their merry way. You know, some people enroll, some people fill in their forms there and then, and then everyone goes home. So the next day, I always like to contact everybody, whether that is through a MailChimp email, and that's probably the quickest way of doing things. You can get a little template set up, and then you just import everybody's email addresses, and I will do a training on MailChimp. So you just contact them, drop them an email or drop them a text or drop them some message just to say thank you for coming, and to let them know if they, well, either if they enrolled, then you want to send all of the information that they need for their enrolment, and if they didn't enroll, just let them know where you are and that you're available for any questions. And you know, some people take time to come to it. And then the really important thing is to add them to your mailing list and to keep in communication with those people. So that is whether they enrolled and became a customer, like your main job is to support them now. That's when our job really starts. But you also have to empower them to know where to go to find the resources to support themselves, because we can't be everybody's go-to. But yeah, I can't stress that enough, that if somebody's enrolled, then now's the time to kind of be supporting them and sending them the information that they need. And I've got lots of information that I can pass on to you guys. And if they didn't enroll, it's really important to kind of include them in your mailing list. I do a monthly mailing list, and it just keeps you in people's minds, because you know, you never quite know what's going on with anybody, and maybe when they came to the class it wasn't the right time for them, or financially it wasn't viable, but at some point it may be. And if you're not emailing them and keeping in touch with them, then you just don't know, somebody else might do, and they might go and purchase oils elsewhere, which you don't want to happen. They're your people, so make sure that you look after them. And that is pretty much it for the class. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and then we can have a catch up.